Welcome to episode 152 of Gods and Heroes of Ancient Greece. My name is MyLinda Butterworth, and today we continue with the tales of Odysseus and the story of the city and the palace. In the meantime, the ship which had brought Telemachus and his companions home from Pylos had run into port, and a herald had been sent on ahead to the palace to tell Penelope of her son's return. The swineherd arrived with the same news, and the two met in the king's house. The herald was first to speak. He said aloud to the queen in the presence of her tirewomen, "Your son, O queen, has returned." But Eumaeus spoke to her alone without eavesdroppers, and repeated what his young master had said. He also begged her to send on the good news to his grandfather Laertes. As soon as the swineherd had delivered his message, he hastened home to his herd. Some of Penelope's handmaids reported the brief words of the heralds to the suitors, and they gathered dejectedly outside the gates and seated themselves on the polished stones to take counsel with one another. Eurymachus opened the assembly. "We surely would never have believed that this boy would carry out his purpose and accomplish this journey," he said. "Let us quickly prepare a swift-sailing ship and send a message to our friends who are lying in ambush so that they wait no longer but return." When Eurymachus was speaking, Amphinomus, another suitor, had looked toward the harbor, which was easily visible from the forecourt of the palace, and there he saw the ship with those suitors who had gone to lie in ambush coming in with full sails. "We need not send a message," he cried. "There they are. Either a god has told them of the return of Telemachus, or they have been pursuing his ship and could not catch up with him." All the suitors rose and hurried down to the shore. Then, together with those who had just arrived, they went to the marketplace where they held an assembly. Antinous, leader of the party which had set out for the strait, defended himself with his comrades. "It was not our fault that he got away," he said. "We had spies watching from the hills the livelong day, and after sunset we did not stay ashore, but crossed and recrossed the strait, thinking only of capturing Telemachus and putting an end to his life. One of the immortals must have aided him, for we did not even catch sight of his ship. But to make up for this failure, we must destroy him here in the city, for the boy is growing too clever and will soon be too much for us. In the end, he will make the people rebellious too. If they find out that we have lain in ambush to murder him, they will drive us out of the country. Rather than have that happen, let us get him out of the way, divide up his possessions among us, and leave the palace to his mother and her husband-to-be. But if my plan does not appeal to you, if you want him to live and keep his estates, let us stop using up his stores. Let each one of us go to his home, and from there woo the queen with gifts, and let her choose the one who is most generous, or the one whom fortune favors." When he had finished, there was a long silence. Finally, Amphinomus, son of Nisus, the noblest among the suitors, whose wisdom and courteousness had commended him even to Penelope, rose and stated his opinion to the gathering. "My friends," he said, "I do not think we should murder Telemachus. It is a terrible crime to kill the last descendant of a kingly line. At any rate, let us first ask the gods about this. If Zeus favors the enterprise, I myself shall be willing to kill him, but if the immortals do not consent, I counsel you to give up the plan." The suitors agreed to do this as he had advised. They proposed carrying out their scheme and returned to the palace. But this time, too, Medon, the herald, who kept secret faith with Penelope, had eavesdropped at their meeting and told the queen everything he had heard. Instantly she veiled herself and hastened down into the great hall, where she addressed the originator of the plot in a voice trembling with emotion. "Antinous," she cried, "Ithaca is wrong in regarding you as the wisest among your countrymen. You are not really wise. You are deaf to the words of the wretched to whom even Zeus gives ear, and insolent enough to conspire against the life of my son Telemachus. Have you forgotten that your father once fled to our house as a suppliant because he was being hunted for having practiced piracy on our allies? His pursuers wanted to kill him, but Odysseus held them back and quieted their rage. And now you, and thanks for the help, give your father, waste the goods of Odysseus, woo his wife, and want to murder his only son? You would do better to keep your companions from impious actions." Before Antinous could reply, Eurymachus broke in. "Have no fears for your son, Penelope," he said. "As long as I live, no man shall dare lay hands on him. When I was a child, Odysseus sometimes took me on his knee and gave me tidbits, and so his son is dearest to me of all men. He need not be afraid of death, at least not of the death at the hands of the suitors, but if the gods want him to die, their will cannot be evaded." So said the false man with the kindliest face in the world, but his heart was black with hatred. Penelope returned to her chamber, threw herself on her couch, and wept for her husband until Athene shed sleep on her eyes. And here is where I end my tale for today. But I'll be back with more tales. Many more tales. Until then, my friends, enjoy the journey.